time a different location and maybe familiar for those who have been following us around for quite a time. We are here at Brainstorm, but with a different guest this time, Iron Savior Piet. Welcome.
Yes, hi. Great to be here at Brainstorm in the Netherlands. It's actually the third time for Iron Savior coming here, not to the festival, coming to Holland in general. And last year we had a great time in Den Haag, and I think it was Enschede, and looking forward for some meeting great people and having a great metal party tonight here at Brainstorm.
Amazing, and actually for us, I grew up with Iron Savior, and that's the band that got me into power metal. But it's actually the first time I'm seeing you live. We are a Dublin media outlet, that's why. But tell us, what makes you come back to the Netherlands? And
Well, I mean, as I just said, next year we're going to have our 30th anniversary for Iron Savior, which is really a long time, and it's a pity that we haven't made it to Holland more often than this before. But I mean, we love playing in Holland because, first of all, of the people, but also those, venues like this. These, I think, they're public financed, if I'm not mistaken. So the venues, I mean, they're in great shape. They're clean. They have good backstage situations. The technical issues are okay, and they're absolutely well maintained, and a motivated crew because they get paid. And so that's it's fun being here.
Yeah, and you're right here, Piet. What I know from Brainstorm Festival, it's a non-profit organization, so it's funded. Here we go by the government. But apart from the cleanliness and so on, what do you look forward in playing here at Brainstorm Fest? And what do you think in general about the lineup? And how do you think Iron Savior fits here?
Well, I mean, actually, first of all, I'm glad that we made it, because actually we were scheduled for last year, but last year we had these two shows of our own tour, which collided and so it was a little bit unsecure if we could make it to Brainstorm, and so but here we are, and that of course makes me happy. And after the experiences of last year, I mean, the Dutch people, they're open, they're friendly, and we felt really, really welcome. And that's why we really were looking to go back to Netherlands and play in front of the Dutch audience here.
Yeah, it's a strong community. It's unreal when you look. You have every city, every night there is a gig. But let's go to Iron Savior. I think you released through Reinterpreting music Reforged, basically. So you are revisiting classic songs of Iron Savior, basically, and adjusting them to the modern times. So can you maybe expand how power metal evolved in those years, and how do you feel what the future is about power metal and what those songs mean to you? It's a lot.
Well, I mean, let's put it in 3 sentences. I think Iron Savior, since we are 30 years old by now, and I'm also an old guy by now.
Yeah, unfortunately.
And well, I mean, of course, we started out doing power metal, and before it was power metal, it was heavy metal, and that was, of course, what I and people of my age grew up with. It's the new wave of British heavy metal from the 80s, and And I think what power metal is, or the source of power metal, actually comes from this era. This is the bands like Priest, Maiden that we were listening to, and of course we didn't want to just redo what they have been doing, so we added people like me added something more to power metal, and that's where power metal actually is coming from. It's coming from people like me who are not as old as Priest and Maiden, but old.
Amazing. And what did you add on this power metal?
I think it's the speed.
Yeah, it's speedy.
I think it's more speedy than classic and traditional heavy metal. I mean, of course, speaking of Priest, they also have like up-tempo fast songs, but not as fast as there's bands like Halloween or Iron Savior with 180 beats per minute, and I think the double bass and the speed metal stuff is something that was important when power metal became or was born or was becoming famous. I mean, now I'm 61 years, or I will turn 61 in a couple of days. We still have some double bass, but I think we don't have 180 beats per minute anymore. Well, on Firestar we had, but I think 160 will also do.
But I would add to this, it's not only the speed, I agree with this, but I would say there are as well choruses that you want to sing along, like heavy metal never dies.
Yeah, exactly. Good point. I think the choruses are much. That's why, of course, power metal also is called melodic power metal, and I think that's also something that distinguishes power metal, or is actually what has evolved from heavy metal. Is those. Well, those big choruses with big melodies and double leads and also in terms of Iron Savior, the big choir vocals and stuff like this. This is something that we, the power metal people, added to heavy metal, I would say.
Yeah, I agree. And with agreeing on this, I think, if I'm correct, your new album, Reforged, reinterprets songs like Heavy Metal Never Dies with a newer production. So what?
Not exactly. Not Heavy Metal Never Dies. I mean, the Reforged series goes back to the original Noise Records catalog. Because we have no legal control about these of these albums. That's why at one point I decided to, well, instead of trying to get back the rights for the old original recordings, which is almost impossible, there was one point back in 2017 where I decided I will start to re-record all these old songs, like the debut album, Unification, and blah blah blah, and so on. And now with Reforged, all songs from this era, from the Noise Records era, are re-recorded in those three albums: Reforged 1, 2, and 3. And the last one now was just recently released, Machine World, and so that's it for Reforged.
Interesting. And why did you feel the need to re-record?
And that's what I said, because we had no legal control.
Yeah, I know you had no legal control, but from a maybe more musical perspective, did you feel the urge to revisit this, or maybe add some?
No, actually, honestly, that's the main point. That we had no legal control, and then of course, when I decided that I wanted to re-record, then of course I did it for real, and I did it with how I do stuff, Mm-hmm. But this was the main intention, to get back the legal control about the catalog. So because before that we were not able to release, we couldn't even make new CDs. The Unification album or the debut album, which carries really a lot of Iron Savior classics, was completely unavailable. I mean, there was some used. You could buy it used on eBay or whatever, but there was no way to have a fresh release of those songs. So this was the only way to make them accessible to the fans again.
That's an interesting one, and I never thought about albums being not accessible, maybe because we live in those digital age, but I believe it's so great. So for the viewers, grab the Reforged series as basically... Yeah, it's a great album of...
It is actually. I mean, I really put a lot of heart blood in there because if I would re-record it, then of course I would do it as best as possible. Not just, let's record it new, ready, check. No, we really put a lot of effort and a lot of heart blood, and we try to conserve the music, for as long as possible.
And recording music, what do you think is the most important element there?
Well, I think the most important element is that you have to listen to your feeling. It's not. I really like some. Differently. I like some progressive stuff. But I'm not a big progressive metal fan, on the other hand, I must say. There are some prog parts in Iron Savior here and there, which I think is nice, but my problem always with progressive metal is I really admire the musical skills.
Quite complex.
Yeah, absolutely, and also the way they perform the songwriting. Sometimes it's amazing, but it usually never grabs me, because there's too little. It's made with the head, It's made with the mind and not with the heart.
Yeah, it's an interesting one, and I love progressive metal as well. But you see a lot of technicality, which makes it hard, I think, for live music and so on.
Well, even if you can perform it live, because you're really so super cool that you can play all the stuff live. I personally prefer a more easy song that really grabs me by the balls and raises some energy, you know, and but I think emotion, feeling and emotion is, for me, it's the most important things about music. You can do music, but if you're not able to, well, to set the heart of the listener on fire, then
yeah, it's
then it's not working.
Yeah, I think it's a very good point, and I think Iron Savior is like music for any point of time and so on, and it's great live as well to shout along and have this very feeling. And something random, when you can pick any age you were, what kind of age did you want?
Actually, I feel quite okay with the age I'm in right now. But probably I would, well, you know, I would say I just had a talk with my wife yesterday about stuff like this, and
we timed this correctly.
And we said the best would actually be to be like we are now, but only 20 years younger. That would be really cool, you know.
So 40s is the new 20s and the 60s the new.
I don't want to go back and become the Piet of 20 or 25 years again, you know. I would like to keep my wisdom and my life experience, but 20 years younger, that would be okay.
Yeah, that would be okay for us, more Iron Savior, right?
Absolutely.
And speaking about Iron Savior, so you are a Hamburg band. And every year we travel almost to Reforged, which is a great Berlin festival. But we always speak to those Berlin bands, and we never got the Hamburg's view. So what would you say as a Hamburger about the scene in Hamburg, and what influences can you find from the scene there?
Well, there's actually a pretty strong scene in Hamburg. Actually, there are a lot of clubs where bands are performing. Many bands are actually coming from Hamburg. They don't necessarily play there every day, but yeah, Iron Savior is from Hamburg. Halloween is from Hamburg. Running Wild is from Hamburg. Storm Warrior is based in Hamburg. So there's lots of metal going on actually. In Paragon, also to be named, also from Hamburg. So there's
interesting.
Yeah, so there's quite a. I'd say Hamburg is one of the metal capital cities in Germany, definitely.
So what are we? Well, we are covering Reforged.
Besides that, yes, of course, it's the most beautiful city in the world.
Amazing. So maybe for a few years, should we go next year to Hamburg instead of Berlin, or maybe do both? So that's a very good question.
If you have the choice between Berlin and Hamburg, I wouldn't have to think about it.
Yeah.
I mean, Berlin is also cool. I like Berlin, but I'm happy that I live in Hamburg and not in Berlin.
Amazing. And in Hamburg, I think your label is there. Well, you're signed to Reforged Music, or their child label. But yeah, I think you went from FM to Reforged Music, or to Division. So what can you say about the label?
Well, I mean, I used to be signed to AFM, which and AFM was based in Hamburg. I think parts or the remains of AFM are still based in Hamburg. And Raining Phoenix is not based in Hamburg. Raining Phoenix is based in Baden-Württemberg, in Homberg. It sounds similar to Hamburg, but it's Homberg.
Interesting, because I read online it's there.
It's near Stuttgart, so it's completely.
So the internet light.
Yeah. So it's yeah.
But speaking then about RPM, any words for RPM who set up the interview for us with you?
Well, I mean, so far my experiences are good. I mean, it's the first release, Machine World, was good. I mean, of course, here and there some screws can be adjusted, you know, but we're getting to learn and getting to know each other by now, and I'm looking into the future that will be good cooperation between Raining Phoenix and the Iron Savior.
Amazing. We look forward to as we love the label. We have always great interviews, and that's why we got a chance to speak with you, Piet, today. And we are rounding up. So what's next on the horizon for Iron Savior?
As I just said, I mean, next is 30th anniversary of Iron Savior next year. Of course, there will be a new studio album in the second half of the year. I think its release is scheduled for September, if I'm not mistaken. But before that, we will have another release at the end of March. On the Condition Red album, I think it was 2002. It was the first time we did a cover version of a pop song and playing a pop song metal style, which was Crazy by Seal. And a lot of fans and also media really loved this version, and it was actually very successful. Actually it was used in an HBO TV series. So to make a long story short, fans and media have been asking us for, well, let's say 2 decades to come up with a cover-only album, where we would do covers. And bam, 2 decades later, here we are with a cover album. It's going to be called Awesome Anthems of the Galaxy. And
nice, we are Metal Galaxy interviewing you now, and there will be an album, Anthems Galaxy.
Well, I mean, of course, the title aims a little bit of Guardians of the Galaxy. So, because for me, it's like a mixtape, of my let's say childhood. I mean, we really have old stuff. We have, I think, the first single actually was released. It's you probably don't know because you're not old enough. Goes back to the movie Fame. Ever heard about Fame?
I don't know which director.
No, it's a dance movie. I think it's from the late 70s or early.
Not my thing, and I think long ago.
It was a big hit, and we have Fame. We have you probably know What a Feeling, the song. You probably know from Phil Collins, Against All Odds.
I think I'm the young generation here.
You absolutely are. I mean, Frankie Goes to Hollywood, Relax.
I think we are talking in a different generation. For viewers, comment please and save me. I think I'm from the late 90s.
So, anyways, I mean, on this album we picked a lot of great stuff from the 80s, to put it like this, and transformed this into Iron Savior style metal songs, and I think the result works really nice. And just recently we came out with the first single, which is performing on Spotify pretty nice. So if you want to take a listen, just do so. Be prepared for more. So that is gonna then. So we have this Awesome Anthem of the Galaxy. We have the new studio album, and of course next year there will be a lot of touring for us also as well. We go to
amazing.
We're gonna go to Spain. We're gonna go to England.
Ireland?
No, probably not Ireland. England. I don't know. I'm not sure. I don't know.
We would love Ireland because we are from Ireland, but we know nobody comes to our island there.
Probably not. But let's say. I mean, we haven't been to England for a long time, so it's good to return to England. Then we're gonna do a headliner tour again with, like last year, with our friends from Mystic Prophecy. In a year. So I think next year in November we will be touring. And so there's lots of stuff coming up for Iron Savior in 2026. And this year we're going to close with an appearance at a big festival in the north, Metal Hammer Paradise at Weißenhäuser Strand.
Amazing. And
the good thing is that this one will be entirely recorded by Arte. You know the TV station Arte.
It says something, yeah.
Yeah, it's a European broadcast station. Arte, never heard of?
I think maybe here and there it's from Germany.
And okay, they're gonna stream the entire concert, not only Iron Savior, but they're gonna stream the festival, and the shows will be in the Arte Mediathek for a year.
Yeah, that's amazing because people will see the live experiences.
You should check out Arte. They really actually have a lot of metal. They have I think right now there's still. I think right now there's still the appearance of Priest at Hellfest on Arte. So
long time.
Yeah.
Amazing. So amazing, lot of things coming up. We know a bit as well what Iron Savior is, what you do, and we look so much forward to your show, Piet. And thank you so much for your time in your hectic schedule for a short interview.
It wasn't so hectic today, so today it's relaxed.
Amazing. That's always great when you have relaxed days on tours. So there they are on tours. So thank you so much for the interview, and I'm just giving you the last word.
Well, I mean, we're happy to be here and happy to party with all the people here, and I hope that we play a good show tonight. Usually we do, but you never know.
So you're going to party with Belgian beer?
No, actually, we don't drink that much. We are, if we have to drive back tomorrow and.
Yeah, Belgian beer is 8-10%. You'll be laying somewhere on the floor in the guy in here, Gian.
We might have a beer or two after the show, but we don't. Nobody in the band does excessive drinking.
Exactly. So rock and roll moderation here.
Yeah.
This is when
we're professionals. We like to have fun, but we're professional. And for us, the most important thing is to bring our stuff to stage and make the people happy.
I think it's a beautiful thing, and with this beautiful accent, we are finishing the interview. Thank you so much for the interview. For the viewers, support and like, as there's much more coming to Iron Savior. They're going to have a headline show, a few gigs in Spain, UK perhaps, and more in Europe. So grab your tickets when they go online, subscribe and like, and Metal Galaxy, as we have more content for you, and as well support this amazing festival, BrainstormFest. Come back next year, and if you haven't been here, you need to go here, as there's a lot of stuff. So yeah, thank you all, and bye.